Austin Kaplan, employment, civil rights whistleblower attorney. Progress Texas is more important than ever. By God, we need to band together and fight back and make sure that our beliefs and values, which are popular, which are critically important to human rights, to people's rights, to civil rights, are being respected and are moving forward in a positive direction for everyone. We are going to fight back. We are going to fight together. We are going to work together, and we are going to win. And by win, I mean we are going to have a society that respects people, that respects workers, that respects people's personal choices, that respects their bodies. And we're going to make that happen together.
It's Wednesday, June 17, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Progress Texas amplifies progressive values, leaders, and actions through our no paywall podcasts and digital media. We make Texas politics easy to understand and to participate in, and your support for fact-based independent media hands the mic to millions of Texans. Huge thanks to Laurel Swift, Macy Burns, and Deborah Zualoga for their ongoing sustaining support. Much, much appreciated. Speaking of which, I want to start off this morning with a huge thank you to the great big crowd of supporters who turned out last night at the People's Last Stand in Dallas, the most Democratic bar in Texas, for our 16th anniversary celebration. The only thing I didn't like about last night was the mathematical impossibility of spending the proper amount of quality time with each of you. But know that your support is deeply, deeply appreciated by all of us here at Progress Texas. Our live events remind me every time what a terrific bunch of folks we've pulled into our orbit. And you know how they say that the key to success is surrounding yourself with solid, smart people. Well, we've accomplished that goal here at Progress Texas for sure. Really terrific to see everybody last night. That crazy crowd will appreciate this one. I couldn't help but let my mind wander a little bit this morning upon seeing a headline from USA Today. Paxton challenges Talarico to a Texas meet-off. That's meat like M-E-A-T, and one can't help but wonder, with the guy famous for allowing his primal urges to damage and eventually destroy his marriage in such a high-profile and public way, what exactly a Texas meet-off challenge by Ken Paxton against James Talarico might actually mean exactly. The things that make you go, as they used to say. Well, pull your head out of the gutter, dear listener, because it turns out this is once again about barbecue, actually. And writer Rex Hupke is dead on in his assessment that, quote, Paxton seems hell-bent on making his race for a U.S. Senate seat one of the dumbest spectacles in American political history, unquote. The meet-off Ken Paxton is proposing is actually just a barbecue lunch, which outside of the creepy challenge that's implied but poorly defined here would actually be a quite nice invitation. This is what Ken Paxton is talking about as he runs to represent all of us here in Texas in the United States Senate as we face existential droughts, a potentially disastrous hurricane season, a failing education system, by design of course, sky-high insurance, grocery, and utility costs, rocketing maternal mortality rates, and on and on and on. Ken Paxton wants to see if he can put away more pork ribs than James Talarico. The man is a walking cartoon, and he sure doesn't want to talk about data centers and how the Republican regime, of which he's a key part, has lazily sold Texas off to tech billionaires for pennies on the dollar. Some of those Republicans, specifically the ones who have been spurned at the primary level by their own voters, have been a little more willing to talk about data centers lately. Benjamin Werman at the Houston Chronicle says outgoing Republican Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller blew a bunch of minds in Texas last week by appearing alongside Clayton Tucker, the Democratic nominee for the job Republican primary runoff voters just fired Miller from, at a data center talk at the Matagorda County Fairgrounds to back a total statewide moratorium. There's a picture of the two of them together and everything at this link in the show notes, and it's striking. One woman at this event asked Commissioner Miller if he thought she and the other regular Republican voters in the crowd there should vote for Clayton Tucker over the data center issue. Miller's response was telling, quote, I would say vote your conscience. Vote who you think represents you the best, unquote. Governor Greg Abbott's seen these tea leaves, and as you've heard, is backtracking full throttle, announcing at the Texas Republican Convention in Houston last weekend that he's ordering state regulators to shield residents from data center infrastructure costs and the legislature to strip away the lucrative sales tax exemptions that the Texas GOP over the last few sessions has casually tossed out there to lure this problem to Texas to begin with. For years, the Greg Abbott regime has aggressively promoted Texas as a frictionless haven and playground for big tech infrastructure. But the party faithful out in the county have noticed that these facilities have begun swallowing their agricultural land and sucking up their water. Greg Abbott knows his party is dead in the water without rural Texas voters, and right now they're pissed. And when Republican voters are pissed, the playbook says distract, distract, distract. And so Governor Abbott, right on cue, goes after a tried and true target, the LGBTQ plus community, an incident in which 4 San Francisco Giants pitchers staged a protest during their team's Pride Night game, scrawling anti-queer biblical references onto their caps and refusing to wear team gear, was too tempting an invitation for our governor. As the league disciplined these players for being out of compliance with uniform policies, Governor Abbott and other demonstrative right-wing types piped up, the governor reminding us that the Texas Rangers are the only Major League Baseball team that doesn't host an annual Pride Night game at all, and musing that, quote, in Texas, we don't punish people for living out their faith. We protect that right, unquote. This, of course, just a few days following the expulsion of several Muslim delegates from the Texas Republican Party convention, quite literally for being Muslim. We've been talking about the conservative distortion of Christian ideology for political advantage a lot lately, while Texas Republicans weaponize the Bible in order to defend bigotry and exclusion. Actual historical and theological scholarship reveals a vastly different reality regarding Scripture. In the Gospels, Jesus Christ never says a single word condemning gay people or same-sex relationships. Rather, his teachings consistently center on radical inclusion, loving one's neighbor, and importantly here, fiercely condemning the hypocrisy of religious elites who use dogma to marginalize the vulnerable. There are a handful of Old and New Testament verses that conservative homophobes lean on when hating on the gays, but the context of those passages are strongly contested by biblical scholars who note that the ancient languages of Scripture generally lack a cohesive concept in parallel with the modern understanding of sexual orientation. Biblical historians believe that those verses are actually intended to target the type of exploitative practices Jeffrey Epstein is famous for, namely the sexual abuse of children and other vulnerable people, rather than loving consensual adult relationships. I'm sorry, y'all. If you gotta hate on the gays, Jesus doesn't really provide you any ammo. We're excited to see everybody next week in Corpus Christi for the Texas Democratic Party Convention. On Thursday, June 25th, we're teaming up for the Texas Progressive Caucus for a warm-up happy hour from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Goldfish on North Mesquite, and we'll be set up to hang out with you in the main vendor area throughout the convention at the Hilliard Center. Progress Texas is proud to be the official media partner of the 2026 Texas Democratic Convention, and we can't wait to see y'all in Corpus. Also, this Saturday, June 20th, Progress Texas is putting on a live podcast taping with the Northeast Travis County Democrats, and you're invited to that as well. This will be a talk on the importance of environmental issues in this crucial midterm election year with Kaiba White, climate policy and outreach specialist with Public Citizen, Sierra Club Lone Star Chapter Conservation Chair Craig Nazer, and Save Our Springs Alliance Senior Staff Attorney Bobby Levinsky. This is happening at 12 noon on Saturday, June 20th, as part of the Netco Dems monthly meetup at La Palapa Restaurant in Northeast Austin. See the link in the show notes for details. Houston listeners, the next episode of our In Progress Roundtable show will come to you on the radio tomorrow in the middle of a new Thursday afternoon block of progressive political programming starting at 6:30 p.m. every Thursday on KPFT 90.1 FM after the Progressive Forum and before the midterm show with Ernest Wittering. In Progress runs a second time every Sunday morning at 11 on KPFT FM HD2. With your support, we hope to expand our radio footprint beyond Houston this year. See the link in the show notes to make your tax-deductible donation to help us reach new audiences via Texas Radio. Also hit the web store at the website to grab the merch to match your progressive values. You're going to find our newly released Humans Against Abbott, Y'all Means All for Pride Month, and Resist shirts, stickers, and buttons. Hit the web store at progresstexas.org to support your favorite podcast network today. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Links to all of these original stories can be found in our show notes. When lives in Texas are well funded by the far right, your support for fact-based reporting is needed and appreciated. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a terrific day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.